All right. So does anybody have a house that they want valued?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's ours.
Like
I need,
legit.
hang on, I need a pen.
We know another condo in our subdivision was just listed and went under contract for. Crazy. I just want to see it for value.
Was that Lisa? Her name Lisa? I talked to her, and she said that you guys were gonna be her realtor. But she didn't get her contract, because I thought she was overpriced for what she had. She did? Was it 335? Was that her asking price? And her offer was close to that? Seriously?
I'm just waiting for coffee. You can get started.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, I want coffee. I mean, you are with great bond. You have great top.
Yeah.
I want you guys to come through.
Okay.
And I talked to him about that today.
Oh, you did? Wonderful.
So.
So we're gonna, and we're gonna start, you're gonna start to practice with me. And so it's like, just one script.
Okay.
They said they take a break for
So
three.
that you guys will get it.
Yeah, that's good.
Did you get your?
Yeah.
You feel comfortable?
They're done.
That's what I'm thinking about.
How
Hey,
does
we
this
don't want
feel?
to do fun. It's not like.
In order to get.
Oh. Well, it's not.
Hers is 6 low.
John, okay, your checklist next time.
That's what we talked about.
Mary, looks like you got new crabs. You wanna live?
Oh, yeah.
Do it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
good crabs.
closing.
Thanks.
Copy that. In your templates, it's closing notes.
Okay, okay. So what do y'all have that y'all are wanting valued?
Pardon me?
What do you have that you want valued? You know the square footage and all of it?
Yeah, you can pull it up. 8 Village Drive.
I sold one on Village Drive.
Part of the reason I want to do that, see, part of it is basement, it's walkout basement, and I know that's kind of.
So it's been listed twice, right? 215 and 305. Okay.
You're like, I can see.
Listen, I had to go get my glasses. Well, these are readers. 838. I'm just over the page apart.
So what's in the basement?
It's a,
Got a golf cart garage over here,
Okay.
the full bedroom, a closet, full bathroom, and a living area.
All in the basement?
Yeah. Now, the
Y'all are
bedroom-
gonna, I wanted something easy. Y'all are gonna give me something difficult to try to find.
Well, the bedroom, my question is, the bedroom that's in the basement does not have a window, can it be considered a bedroom?
Just the door going in and the door, and that's it?
you got it,
Nope.
you got it.
Okay.
Because it's 2, 3.
It has to have 2 points of ingress and egress, whether it be 2 doors, one that goes in, another one that goes out, or a window.
Somebody can use that, but you can't. list it.
Yeah, you can call it, I mean, you can use it as a bedroom, you just can't legally on an appraisal call it, or real estate call it a bedroom.
So with whatever you want to call it, it's a large room with a big closet.
Yeah, I always call them like office space. Yeah. All right, so if you're wanting to value that, have you done a comp search on it?
No, not recently. I
Okay,
know there's one that's over in Lake Forest
So where does this house sit?
on Village Drive, right there next to the Rolling
Next to what?
Hill.
Okay. Golf course, you know where this is. Preferably where they swim. That's what I would do. I would be swinging those things, but lots of people do.
Well, as hard as it's gonna be Friday, we probably will be.
Oh, my goodness, it is gonna be fun.
I'm sure.
You guys are gonna, better drink lots of water.
It's gonna be hot. And there's no breeze on half of that course. I hate to tell
Except
you,
for the yakking.
that's hot air though,
Yeah, it's
no different.
true story.
All right, so I tell you what, let me do this. Let me pull up.
I mean, if you don't mind doing this one, just.
I don't mind. I'd rather do something that somebody needs. It's not what I wanted.
Well, it's gonna be a house. House is a house.
And I've got one.
We might legit sell ours.
And I'm sure there's big fries on it. And I'm gonna have to sell it.
Might get us another day.
All right, so they're 1,587 square foot in the basement.
Now, for Village Drive East went under contract, of course, it's a FISBO.
It's not closed yet.
No.
So there has only been. So did that one actually sold then?
For Village Drive East?
No, 8.
Yeah, that's one we bought.
Yeah, we bought
We
it
bought
last
it.
year. in
Oh, okay,
August.
okay. And y'all are wanting to value it now to see if it's come up in value.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah. possibly so.
so y'all, that one and then 33 here is the only 2 sales, which that one's not even compatible because it doesn't have basement space.
Yeah, there's only 2 or 3 in there that do.
Yeah. So in the last, so y'all gave me a hard one. In the last 12 months, there's only been 2 sold in
Mhm. And right now, there's one under contract.
So I don't know what to do. Or they don't. Because there's nothing, I mean, there's nothing in there that has sold. And not many others have. When you got this one, I don't think these have basements in them though. That one's on Iverness.
Yes, it was.
Oh, man, let me get off that.
We got a full price cash offer.
On that one,
Yeah.
but it has no basement, correct?
No.
But you were a little bigger square footage,
What's your total square footage on that?
2967, or no, 1959.
It matters more that the square footage is similar than that how the square footage is displayed.
Yep. If you've got if you've got a house with a basement, of course, on an appraisal, it's completely different than real estate. On real estate, it all counts as one total square footage. So on an appraisal, it's going to be above grade square footage, below grade square footage, and they're broken down into 2 separate values. So where you may be 150 square foot, 125 square foot on your above grade, your basement's typically going to be 60 to 75% of that value because it takes less to build that. So it's a lesser value. It may be, if it's 125 up, it may be 75 for basement, even though it is fully finished.
Really?
Yep.
Even though it's fully finished?
It'll be probably 25% less per square foot than the main house upstairs.
That makes sense.
That's good. That's good to know, Barry. I've always heard 50%. So 60 to 75%, you said?
Usually used to, we valued everything at 50% of that. And that's what our Marshall and Swift cost approach handbook would go with was about 50% of the value. But over the last couple of 2 to 3 years, since the values have changed as much as they have and the market has changed like it has, then I'm seeing it be somewhere in the 65 to 75, 60 to 75% higher value for basements then. And it all depends on how finished out the basement is too and how well it's finished out. And I appraised one a couple of weeks ago that the basement was marble floors, sheetrock walls, 6-inch crown mold. It was just a first class basement. I've never seen anything like it, which it was a doctor's house. So.
And you did appraise that one higher?
Yeah, because you've got your different levels on appraising as far as like you've got low, fair, average, good, very good, or excellent quality.
See, and that's what we had in our MLS
Mhm.
for all the houses. They had to be categorized.
Yep.
New construction, excellent. So when I first moved here, I said, well, just searching very good or searching excellent
Yeah.
or very good. And she said, what does that even mean? So I
Yeah.
thought all MLSs had that.
On my cost book now, I'm running everything one grade above what I used to. Because everything, like if I used one, I did an appraisal last week for a guy, and I did it just like I normally would, comped it out like I normally would, and I thought, that's like too low. So I went up to good value, valued it at that, put it on the market at that, sold it for out, and sold it for 5 over asking price.
So going back to the basement, so a basement, finish or not, the square footage is what percentage of the total value did you say?
Anywhere between 60 to 75% per square foot.
So you've got your total upstairs, say it's $1 a square foot up top, and you're only got 75 cents a
Yep.
square foot down.
For the basement.
Okay, that's what I want.
And the reasoning is for that is because your basement, you just got your floor and your 4 walls. Typically it's concrete. So with the upstairs, the reason why it's more is because you've got your floor and your walls, your roof over it. There's a lot more that goes into the detail of cost. Yeah, porches.
Okay, so now I have
siding,
a
all that.
even weirder question. Ours is only underground basement on the back wall because one wall is connected to the townhouse, the other 2 walls are not under basement. So how's that? How do you price that?
You know, it has to be,
Sorry.
it'd be a measurement, has to be physical measure.
Yeah, determining on
Okay.
the square footage. Probably that one was probably more in the 50 to 60% range
Okay.
as far as value wise.
Okay.
But
So they would
I
be
can
lower?
look back because the one that I sold, and I can't remember where it was at. It was right up down to there. It had a basement hall. I can look back on it and see how I run it. So really, I mean, really, that one is a hard one to, because the only other thing that I could do is go back to my criteria. If I wanted to find one that did have a basement, is I could go down here to my features and go down to ZC, which is basement area.
I think there is one under contract over there, like Forest, that is similar to ours, that's pending. No.
I haven't had much luck with the Paragon. If I put in a garage, then it almost takes it to 0.
Yes, yeah, I don't ever,
Why does it eliminate everything? Because God knows there's some out there for garage.
yeah.
So is there a way to use that features without eliminating your entire database?
Not in Paragon. For some reason, it attaches. If you put in, you're looking for like a detached garage,
Mhm.
it's gonna throw you nothing.
Well, I
And-
mean,
and
that
you'll-
defeats the purpose of the feature.
Yeah, and you'll say pull up comps that, and you'll have 20 of them that have detached garages.
Yeah.
And, but if you put that in there, it's looking for a detached, then I think it's all in how it's put in. So yeah, you've got 2 here. The only other one that has a basement in it sold at 680,000. Yeah, and it's quite a bit bigger, just
But-
21,
And a lot newer.
and a lot newer,
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
So
And it's
you're
a country
looking,
club of the new.
yeah, so you're looking at, y'all's is what, 846 in the basement. This one's 2,045. So by the time you deduct all of that at, $60, $70 a square foot, $80 a square foot, you're jumping way down. So next question, does anybody have a single family house that they want value? That would be a whole lot
I'll
easier.
tell you what, I've got, I've got one that's under contract already. That I'd like to see if
I've got one coming up
you not hear
that
me
has
talking?
acreage with it.
I don't want a complex one.
Mary,
We'll talk
Mary.
about that one later.
I've got one at 41 Mary Court in Murray.
All right. We'll come back to yours, Brian.
Thanks, Melinda, for talking over me.
Are
Well,
you
you said-
anytime?
You said yours was under contract, Brian.
I don't, no, it's still a house.
Who had
So
the
she
41
heard me,
Mary
she just
Court?
chose to ignore me.
Atta girl, Melinda.
You stay out of this.
Newberry, it's Linda.
Okay. It's not in MLS, is it?
Yes,
And it's 41 Mary, Mary.
right. And it's in Murray.
It is not pulling up.
Melinda, I need to talk to you about that one.
It's active and I just pulled it up this morning. So
Hey, Barry, I got it. You want the MLS number?
Oh, wait a minute. I know what it is.
you've got all these basement things.
Yeah. Got to take them out.
There you go.
There you go.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
This is when this-
All right, so Mary Court, 2360 square foot, built in 97 on 2.3 acres, Anderson Shores. And that one's water view. I've seen that one. So did you pull comps and everything, Linda, to come up with your value on that?
I did, although there are no perfect comps there. So I sort of found houses, found the land that they own, which they own several lots around them too. And if a person were to buy that, they would, them and the neighbors down the street would be able to go to the road department and have Mary Court closed. And just have that whole cul-de-sac to themselves right by the marina. Also, let's see, what else do we do? Oh, it's immaculate too. There's nothing at all that they know of that's wrong with it. They've had a new roof put on within the last year, new gutters. It's just in really good shape.
Okay.
That's what they wanted to list it for, so.
So it's just water view seasonal, correct? That's how you got it listed.
Well, they've got one remote view from the upper back deck over in the corner that on a sunny day you can see year round. If the trees, when the trees start falling, it's a much better view.
Okay. So we're gonna just search for water view seasonal and water view year round and see what has sold in Callaway County in the last 2 years. And so you're looking at what, 2,360 square foot on that.
Yes.
All right, so that's not gonna be a good comp because it's not even, that's different.
That's a dirt house.
It's like a silo house.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Sue Ann's listing. So that's sold for 275, although it is equivalent in square foot, 2.6 acres, 2372 square foot, built in 97. So yours is built in 97, 2.3 acres, 2360 square foot. Although they are different looking houses, I would probably use that as a comparable simply because of they're basically identical. And
Right. There were some outside too that I had comp for something else. And I used some of that, although it's a remote view that's year round. It's not the view that a lot of people would like. However, they do own some lots around them. Those trees were cut. If a person bought the lots around them and cut the trees, they'd be able to see very well. And in the fall, they have a good view. Not the view that a lot of people would like, because mainly it's over Harbor Hill Marina and out that way to Kentucky Lake. But it's still a view, so.
so this,
Yes, yes.
that's, where is your house from here?
Right there, you, well, very close to that. The cul-de-sac is just to the right of that, a little to the left of that. So it's that right in there.
That's So you look at the difference between that view and this view might even be a little bit better.
Yeah, I think so too.
Even with the leaves on, you could still see the water on that one. So,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
but still, I would use that on an appraisal as a comparable, even though it is a little bit different style and design of the house. The square footage adds up to within like 7 square foot, 2.3 acres compared to 2.6, built in the same year. So that would be one, and that one sold at 275.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be one that I would use as a comparable.
Okay, good deal. Well, let's see what else. Oh yeah, the layout of it is it's so open. You know, kitchen to the dining room to the living area is open, and there are a lot of windows in there. They're new windows, and the light is tremendous inside on the main level.
Okay. So now here's you another comp, and this just shows you the difference between values. That one sold at 275,
Yeah.
sold at 410, and it's 2,300 square foot on 1.8 acres, built in 97. Now yours is vinyl though, correct?
Right.
This
I
one-
gave them a range, and we did have 2 offers on it. However, you know, we put in the listing to only bring pre-qualified buyers, and they were not. They were brought by a different agent and were not, and had to wait, and they couldn't get their money, you know, all that kind of stuff. So we didn't go under contract with them at all.
Okay. So this one's got a little bit better of a lake view also,
Uh-huh.
and a dock and a metal building. Yeah, I was gonna say I'd take that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, look at that view. So
That
there's,
is-
yeah,
I-
that's,
I sold that one actually. You can walk down to the water right there and you have like the view and your own private dock and everything.
oh,
it's
Chris
easy-
McCoy.
It's easy to walk right down to the marina and have all the view you want, right there, even on their own property. It adjoins the marina, and you can walk right down there to it. I did
Okay.
talk to the lady. I just sold the lot next to it too, because everybody has wanted to know about that lot. If those people would sell it, well, I sold it to a lady and called her, and she's very willing to sell it. So she's never going to do anything with it. So hopefully and we may end up, I mean, they've got a range there, and they chose to list it at the upper end of the range. So they've got a little room in there too to negotiate.
Okay. So the only things that I can think of on this one is I would probably deduct for land value, because you've got more land value on this one than you do yours, with this having the better lake view.
Uh-huh.
You've got a little bit less land, but you're probably $75,000 difference in land value. And then this one doesn't have a garage, but it's brick. So those two things would probably offset. But then this one's got the big metal building,
Right.
which was a deduction too of another probably 30 to 40,000. So this one's going to comp out probably right around the 300 range also.
Okay, so can you go back to the brick versus garage? Yeah.
Well,
Never heard of
okay,
that
so
before.
if you've got I'm just saying the deduction would be different. So if you've got an attached, like Linda's house has got an attached two-car garage. This one, the brick one, did not have a garage. So there would be a $15,000 deduction off of her house.
Hey,
or
Barry.
added to this one, the brick one, to compare to her house. So that would be an add-on. So then brick compared to vinyl would be roughly a $15,000 deduction off of the brick to compare to the vinyl. So those two adjustments would basically offset each other.
Does it matter the size of the house? So say if you're looking at a 4,000 square foot home, one's vinyl, one's brick, what would the
Yeah.
deduction be?
You just kind of factor in a little bit.
So
usually get
It'd be a lot
prices.
more than 15,000
Oh, yeah.
or something like that,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
I've got one of my best friends does vinyl work and roofing. My other best friend does brickwork.
Uh-huh.
So I always call them. I'll shoot them a text, hey, 4,000 square foot house.
How
You
much
know,
brick?
how much difference between brick and vinyl.
Okay.
And they've got their little deals on their phones that they can
Okay.
calculate, okay, 4,000 square foot house vinyl, it's gonna be so many square of vinyl, it's gonna cost this much to do.
Right, yeah, I
And he'll
come
shoot
across
me
that a
that.
lot, so I do
Yeah.
really, because I knew brick is like astronomical
Yes.
compared to vinyl, and so I, how to pull that
Yeah.
out.
And it's harder to do on like an older house or one that's 20 years old, because then you got to take the depreciated value of the brick too. So,
Right.
So you got to, so if he calls, if I say, what's this 4,000 vinyl, and he says it costs, 20,000 to vinyl this house, and he tells me it's going to be 50 to brick it, then there's $30,000 difference there.
Gotcha.
Then if it's a 20-year-old house, then I'm going to take half depreciation, then it's going to be around the 15,000. Did you have something, Melinda?
She's on.
I got something.
Yeah, sorry. Couldn't get it unmuted. Where did you come up with the 80,000? I know where you came up with it from experience, the 80,000 deduction land value. Where would I come up with that?
Doing a comparable search on what land sales, like your waterfront lots compared to water view lots, the difference between the two, as far as if you had a 2-acre lot that's water view compared to a 2-acre lot that was more like this brick house that went right down to the water, then just doing a comp search and seeing what the difference per acre between the two would be, and then taking that adjustment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Barry. I appreciate that. I'm sorry, Brian.
That's all right. No, that's fine.
There's not that much difference between waterfront versus water view.
Yeah. Yeah, there can be a lot of difference.
Because,
Yeah, like
yeah, my
100,000 or
client
more.
just paid $265,000 for a Cambridge short lot that he had to finish getting the basement
Mhm.
debris out of.
Yeah.
Versus some of those lots that are like 75,000.
Oh, yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sold a lot to one of my good friends 2 years ago. It was in a curve, and it's like the whole lot just done down like that. And it was horrible. I was like, dude, there's no way you'll ever build a house there. He paid $150,000 for it just because it was waterfront.
Is he still your good friend?
He is, because he built $1 million house on it. I did all the appraisal work.
Oh,
So-
my God. I
Yeah.
worried about my house falling.
No, he had it in, I think, 150 loads of dirt to level it all out. Fix it. So. Yes, sir, Brian.
All right.
What do you got?
My request is, I'm gonna give you an address. I'm not gonna tell you, I'll tell you what the house is. And then if you can, step us through exactly what you do.
Okay.
to walk
Is it on the
this.
MLS?
Yes.
Okay. What's the address?
837 North 23rd Street. We do have it under contract, but I just wanted to see where you
What
would be.
street?
North 23rd Street.
Okay.
So this is the 2-1. It shows he bought it in foreclosure 2-3 years ago, and he's gone in, renovated it, new kitchen, new floors.
Love those floors.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things he's done, but it's still 2-1 North 23rd. And I wanted to see what I did versus what you do, so I can tweak mine if I need to.
Okay.
So.
Did you take any kitchen pictures? There it is. That was like 30 pictures of each room. Okay, that's good. It's got a, it's a nerd thing.
So, yeah, and it's also got a detached garage.
Okay, yeah, that's. So one, so did you classify that as a 2-car garage or 1 car?
I'm sorry.
You put it as a 1 car. Okay, good. It drives me nuts when they put 2-car on there. It's clearly one
No,
door like
It's a
that.
pull through, so you're not gonna pull in one side and the other.
Okay. So what we'll do is we will go. And
1-car garage and shop, is that how you say that?
yeah,
Well,
That's the way
yeah,
I would
one-car
do
detached garage. Then I threw in the measurements of it, so that way they know, and then in the description, I say, alley access for the 1-car garage, pull-through garage, stuff like that. So a lot of stuff you can't do in picture, you just have to put on your listing for your terms. So what are your, do you have like a top 10 things or top 5 things that these are guaranteed things I check against? Like square footage,
Yeah, square footage is the key. So what I do, so I go in here and look for in the last year. So I look at your list price, which was $89,900.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna go on something like that, $20,000 lower. I'll go down to like 69 or I'll probably go like 65,000 and search starting there up to 105.
So
Just-
you put a range, obviously.
Yeah, I put a range in just in there because there was 916 sales. And it took me all day to thumb through 916.
well, see, that's where I
You have
put, that's where I put 2 bed, 1 bath,
Yeah.
square footage, and it starts narrowing down. That's
Yeah.
why I want to make sure I'm doing it right.
Yeah. So that's what I go 20 to 25,000 both sides.
Plus or minus.
And then,
And the date range, you put a date in there instead of putting like 12 months?
yes, because I'm on an appraisal, I can only go back 12 months.
Okay.
I
But
can't.
if you have 99 and you go back 1 month, you get 15.
Yeah.
you
So I
still
mean,
have-
even with this, in that price range, there's 96 sales.
Mhm.
So with that, I'll just go through that. My next thing that I will do on something like that, so that's North 36th Street. Then I'm gonna search North 36th Street. That's gonna be my very next thing that I'm gonna put in. That'll be the first thing I'll do is search North 36.
Well, the problem with that is a lot of people don't put the address in there correctly. They don't put
Yeah.
an N in there or they spell it
Yeah.
wrong.
It's North 23rd, Barry.
Oh, well, Brian said 26, 36.
837. Maybe buried in.
Nobody's
Maybe you
hearing
don't
you
want
today.
Maybe you have that effect on people that have selective hearing.
That's kind of impossible not hearing right.
Okay,
For his soul.
so Brian, here you go. In the last year, there's been 2 sales. So let's compare the first one.
Oh, that's across the street.
All right, so you've got this one. It's a lot bigger house, 1632 square foot compared to yours. So what are the differences between yours and that one?
Well, there's an extra bedroom.
Yep, extra bedroom, extra half bath, no garage, more square footage. And this one,
And the interior is limited. And
this one is in poor condition. You tell me that, set floor.
So Barry, it doesn't have enough differences that you wouldn't just scrap it.
I would not use this.
I was gonna say, I wouldn't. use that one.
No. Kitchen's nice. Now I will give it that. The kitchen looks like it's got some updated kitchens, but you can clearly tell the floors are trash. And I typically won't go that, I won't use 1,600 square foot against the 1,100 square foot anytime. Because that's just too big of an adjustment. So that one's out.
So do you have a plus or minus square feet over your house that you use? Is it like 200 square feet below, 200
2 to
over?
300 max.
And this is kind of what I'm.
Yeah, 200 to 300 square foot max. I like to go either way, either under or over. All right, so this one here is, yours is what, 820? What was your address?
837.
837. So this is the same block, 820 North 23rd. Basically, same square footage, almost 1158. This one's got a 225. I call that a cellar because that's not much of a basement. Looks very similar to yours as far as updates and condition and all inside. Yeah, I mean,
It
it's,
doesn't have to do project.
yeah, so that's gonna be, well, I think it showed that it had, did it not have a garage? Yeah, so no garage. All right, so that one listed and sold, listed at 88, sold at 33 with 3 concessions. So basically 80,000. So by the time you add on 7,500 for your garage, that's 87.5. So that's what this house would adjust out to yours. So my guess is yours is listed at 89.9. I'm gonna guess if you didn't get full price, then you probably got a little over asking. Yeah.
That's why it's, I mean, we go back to that whole professional measurement thing.
Yeah.
That's why I want to make sure it's like, okay, here's what I did, here's the steps that I did. I just want to make sure that we did it right and I didn't leave money on the table.
Right.
But
So then even from that, I'll back up. Once I find everything on that street, and then, of course, and that would be a perfect comp. I would use it on an appraisal and have no problem with that.
now, let me ask you this, and I'll go ahead and admit that I did this. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but there's been a lot of turnover in that neighborhood. Buying, selling, rentals, new builds, whatever. I went to the Paragon and drew a line down Park Avenue, up 22nd over to Mildred, and then at Samantha's, and just got that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I had plenty of comps.
Oh, yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Or if I start crossing the street?
Yeah.
Because over across the street's different.
Yeah.
Because you're now into Clay, Harrison, Monroe, all
Yep.
that. So I want to make sure that what I'm doing is okay.
I do that same thing because if I know that a particular area is gonna be, has been a lot of turnover and things have been selling, and things, then I'll cut out the other areas that haven't had very many sales because they're just different areas.
Can you show us how to do
Yeah, if I can remember.
Then you go to.
that? I mean, if you're down
search,
with, it's Brian's.
Yeah, let me do this. Let me take out North 23rd.
Go to max search, you can either draw a radius, or you could put like a 1 mile radius, and then you type in like the street.
Now, another thing I will do too, if I want to get really picky on finding, this is 1131 square foot, I'll put in a square footage range and go like 1,000 to,
200, 300 plus or minus.
yeah, I'll go 1,000 to 1,300 because there was 96 sales.
Yes.
So I'll cut it down a little bit to try to find those comparables that are as close as possible to that. And then I'll just start going through them and thinking, okay, so, what can I find? And that I'll usually start going through them.
I go to the high school. just to see if they-
I do too. I always,
It's like,
I always
okay,
do.
105, I want to see what that.
Because on my appraisals, I always want the highest comp as my number one comp. And then I'll downgrade from there, first, second, third comp. Sometimes I'll put 6 and 8 comps on an appraisal if there's a lot in that subdivision.
Hey, Barry,
Yes.
question for you on, so I see you, when you put in the price range, you are basing it off of Brian's list price. So I see doing that if I am the buyer's agent, but what if you're in Brian's shoes when he was running comps for figuring out the price? Would you not start with square footage instead of a price range at that point in order to find your price range?
I will at times, but if I have a good idea of kind of just like a good thought of what I think the house might be from knowledge of what things have sold for on the market, then that's why I went 25,000 below what I,
Okay.
so if I was thinking, okay, this is an $85,000 house, then I'm going to go down and start searching at 60,000. And then I'm going to go 25 above, give me that broad range of homes to search in.
Okay,
Hey, and Melinda,
yes,
I kind of cheated a little bit because the seller told me what they wanted out of it. So I just kind of started there.
Mhm.
okay,
And then to see if his number was too low or too high.
okay, to
So
prove yourself
that
right or
was-
wrong.
Exactly, yeah. So I was glad to say, because he was fine with like 80, 81. And when I ran it, I thought, well, we can probably do more. And we can always come down. But we got more than what I had. So I'm glad to see that I was right.
So I would have started at 99,000.
What I find is most sellers are like, I don't know what it's worth. That's what I have you for.
Yeah.
So,
That's what I typically go 25 below or 20, just depending on the house too, because I don't want to make a lot of adjustments.
Do you ever do like the CMA? A lot of times I'll go into that RPR and do a CMA, especially if I'm getting ready to list to see. And then sometimes the information in there is not accurate, or you can say, hey, since they bought it, that they've added this on, and it gives you kind of the sellers seem to like that.
Yeah.
So you can.
I do that on all my listings. I'll
Okay.
go in here and
I
do a
love that
CMA, plug in their square footage, everything.
You can see
and then
historical
just-
photos
Oh,
and
yeah.
all that.
Let them just see everything about it. And so then that way, matter of fact, I did that this week
Mhm.
and I worked my butt off on this deal. It was gonna be a $400,000, $469,900 list price, $369,900 on a 3,600 square foot house on the golf course at Mayfield. And so I printed out the whole CMA, gave them everything, gave them the comparables, took into consideration all that they had done. And they were like, we sold this house ourselves last year for $309,900. Thank God they backed out. Because they said we put $60,000 off the table. And they were like, we're glad. And then they ended up calling yesterday morning, decided that everything they was looking for in Lexington and Nevada was going to be way more than what they wanted to do at 80 years old. So they decided they're staying in Mayfield. So I was like, I put a lot of work into this for nothing.
Yeah.
But,
And a lot
I mean,
of
that's
times
the way it
it
goes.
stinks, yeah,
Yeah.
when you do that, but
Yeah.
I know Jeff and I have been able to get a few listings when we were going to get somebody else, because we took the time to do the CMA and nobody
Right.
else did.
Yeah.
They want something that they can touch and feel.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Take the time to do your
Yes.
surveys.
Yeah,
Yes.
because that's exactly what they told me. They had interviewed 3 different appraisers or 3 different realtors.
Mhm.
And they said, you're the only one that brought a CMA. And they said, you're the only one that took the time to
So
sit
why do you
down
think
and
that
show
is?
us all.
Because people are lazy.
Yeah.
It takes a while to hire.
Yeah.
Put those together.
Yeah, they said the
Or
other
they
2
don't know
came
how
in.
to do it.
Yeah, they said
That's
the other,
really sad.
yeah, they said the other 2 agents, which they're Mayfield agents, anyway, they came in, they just looked around for 15, 20 minutes and left. I was there an hour and 40 minutes with them because I wanted to look at every detail of the house. I wanted to listen to them. I stayed as long as they wanted to talk and spend the time with them. The others were there, they said 15 to 30 minutes and left.
But you know,
So
you
they
might
didn't
not
feel
have,
rushed.
Huh?
They didn't feel rushed. They didn't feel that you were rushed.
No,
you might not have sold them, however, word of mouth. You might
Yeah.
get 3 more listings because you did
yeah,
take the time and listen to them, didn't pressure them into trying to sell something
Yeah.
that they didn't want to sell.
yeah. Because the last thing he told me on our phone conversation was there's going to be a time in the next few years that we will sell and you will be our only phone call. And that made me feel good, you know.
Did
so-
you take this cup with you?
Huh?
I love that cup.
I did. I took it and I said, that was actually given to me by one of my clients that I sold their house.
Oh, really?
He called me and he said, hey, he said, I hear you're the guy to make somebody homeless. And when we closed, he bought me that cup and brought it to.
I might want to start advertising that.
That's
Call me
cool.
if you want to be homeless.
You want to show them how to draw.
Yeah, remind me how to do it, Brian, because I'm drawing a blank on it. to be
Oh,
honest.
it's
Okay, go to-
it's really
Well,
easy.
actually, yeah.
Go to that.
Oh, by the way, here's another comparable that I would probably use on your house, 1152 square foot.
So you're okay that far away? in
yeah.
general?
Yeah, in the city of Paducah, I'll stay in the city, as long as I'm in the city.
See, I was
limits.
nervous about that because I thought it's gonna be different part, different this,
Yeah.
there's gonna be that.
Yeah.
So, okay,
And
well, that's
all-
good to know.
So if you're out in the county, how do you decide the radius?
On an appraisal, if you're in the county, you can go anywhere in that county.
Okay.
As long as I write them a detailed explanation about this is in South Graves. Now, I won't go to South Graves and North Graves. Because there's 2 different markets there, just like I don't want to go from Heath or over by the mall area. I won't go to Regional,
Yeah.
you know, but Lone Oak's okay. You know,
Mhm.
all that.
Gotcha.
And if I have to, just because there's 0 comps out there, but there are in Greenland, then I might make a little adjustment and make a documentation. This adjustment is based off the market areas.
Gotcha.
So,
Hey, Barry,
yes, ma'am.
for appraisal purposes, I understand what you're saying. But for pricing and actual market value for, for buyers, or, if you're getting ready to list it, I do the same thing that Brian's talking about. If it's
Yes.
if it's a unique neighborhood, I kind of, look within that unique neighborhood instead of branching out a little bit. Am I
Yeah.
doing that wrong, you think?
No, stay in pricing a house for real estate. Yes, I stay as close to the same neighborhood as I can.
Okay.
I want to stay in that same area. Appraising, there may be times that I can't do that, that I just have to go to different areas and then I'll just document why I went to different areas.
Yeah.
And as long as I do that, then the appraiser people are good with it. But for pricing, I always try to stay in the same area, but sometimes you just can't do that.
Right. Okay, good.
So, yeah, and then yeah, because then if you can just go here
Mhm.
and do map search. So you can, and then
Have
you
the
can,
address in and
you
say
can
what
do all
details
this,
you
you can do, you can do a radius.
You can just do rectangle.
Yeah, you can do whatever, or,
And then that's gonna pull up every
Yeah.
sale that has sold.
or if you take this and then you have your, so if you type in 837 North 23rd. Then that's there, and then you say, okay, everything, because a lot of times I'll use this, if somebody says, I don't want to live, and this is when I do more of the buyer.
Mhm.
I don't want to live 20 minutes from whatever, so I'll say it's about 20 miles or so. And then search radius,
You can also
And then
put somebody's
search.
work in there or school
yeah,
and kind of help in that radius.
So, can you zoom out of that?
oh, yeah. Zoom all the way out. It's just wherever the paragon.
And see, and then after you do that, you can hit map search up there and it's gonna show all those properties on the map.
Look at what now?
I think up where it says map search, isn't that right? Mom?
Yeah, you can do map search.
Click where it says map search right there and it shows all the properties that
Yeah,
way.
you can zoom out.
Yeah, I do that a lot
So
too,
you
that
can
way, just to
see-
see where they are.
You can see that is a 20-mile radius.
Yeah.
So if they don't want to drive 20 minutes, then it's not gonna pull in anything. And then once you start doing your other restrictions like bed, bath, whatever, then it only narrows it down. So that's more of a buyer side,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
in the county, it's helpful because then you got, because it's more sparse
Right.
and you capture more, more homes. But if you're in the county,
Yeah.
and see, I didn't know that. I thought if it's like, okay, if it's over here in Campbell, this is where I need to stay.
Yeah.
Or West Paducah, but apparently you can. I just
Yeah,
didn't
you
know
can
that.
go surrounding areas, they call it.
But I will tell you the difference between Keble McCracken and Ballard McCracken, that makes a
Different.
difference too.
World of difference.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like $10,000 an acre, mile down the road in Ballard.
See, I've got one of those
$8,000
now coming up that I don't know what to do with, because there's not much, and it's just right over the line, right up next to the wildlife reserve or whatever, all
Oh,
by
yeah.
itself, and,
Out off
Double
Ogden
wide.
Landing Road
Huh?
area, in the Ogden Landing Road area, or
something school road, Brody, under the bay, I don't so much. but they-
I know what you're talking about.
Um,
It's
what is
right
over-
there,
No, that's Boldry.
Boulder School Road, yeah. That's right there at the line.
Yeah.
Because actually, part of that road is in.
Because there's
part of
2
it's in
acres
Campbell.
and a double wide, somebody's walked off, it's a estate, but there's, it's like mom and dad left it 20 years ago, but it's been maintained and.
You want to go that one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Is it on MLS?
No, y'all won't steal it from me.
No, but you can still search it, see if it's ever been in there.
It's, I look and there's no contact for estimate.
What's the house number?
6465 Boldry, Boldry, School Road.
No.
I
No,
drove by
Kentucky
it.
Dam Road's the only one.
There's like nothing there.
Oh, come
out there, but it's, great location, just right over the line.
How do you spell Boulder?
Hey, did I just shut?
BOLDRI.
I don't have a Tracking County PVA on. Say I pull it up. And I don't know my login
So
information
is
on
it
it.
Thomas Dick that owns it?
Yeah.
Found it on Homestead. I do that for mine.
Did she talk about this on the Jeff?
Well, see, it gives you the estimated property lines and all that stuff.
On Homestead?
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
you can walk the property
Yeah.
line. That's something that whenever I
Tells
bought
you
my
what
first
it's
house.
like.
I remember the comps coming. Wait,
Oh, yeah.
that's why I said, how do you get that?
Charlotte,
Yes,
did you say that was Home Tech?
I won't.
Home Snap.
Oh, yeah, Home Snap, okay.
and then this, it tells you, you know,
Right.
I'll go there.
and also
Right.
like on that, you can put the community. Say
And
your
start
work
doing the
location,
same.
what's the address?
Because Because they're making private sales. Yeah, and for private sales, I'll use them. I'll drive over and take a picture. Call my sister and all. On Brick Creek. Say, hey, I'm down the road, take a picture. It's that. Yeah. So they'll do that. All right. Anybody else have any questions or anything?
You could look
Hey,
up
Barry.
Yes.
I was wondering, so like if a house was built in the 70s, but then they've completely gone in and renovated it, like can you compare that to something that's newer build at all, like in the 90s or 2000s, or how do you do that difference with it being remodeled?
If they're equivalent as far as condition inside, and that's all that I have to compare it to, then I'll look at the condition of the remodel and the condition of the new, and I'll make a small adjustment because of the age. Because the inside of both of them may be completely the same, but you gotta look at the shell of the house is, 40, 50 years old compared to the shell of the house of the newer one. So I will make a small adjustment on that for age.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I have a question off the beaten path.
Mhm.
Are you getting a lot of phone calls asking people to appraise their property? Because
Because PVA Jacker, yes.
I want you to know that, when you did my parents' property and you did that, they did it 3 times more than what your appraisal said, and my brother was able to submit that to them and get it back to where it needed to be. So that was huge. So I'm so glad I did that.
Buddy of mine in Mayfield, he bought his house 4 years ago for 141,000,
Mhm.
and he got his new assessment this year at 260.
Yeah.
And he was like, I've lived in that house and done absolutely nothing to it. He said, I ain't painted. And so I ran him a comp search real quick, appraised it at 160. He took it to them, they changed it.
Mhm.
But I'm getting calls. I mean, I'm
It's
3,
sad
4
these
weeks.
people that don't know
Yeah.
how to do that.
Yeah,
I just think they gotta take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My brother about freaked out.
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
3
like,
to 4
oh,
weeks
no. I
behind
said-
right now. I've got 26.
And McCracken
Of
County
those
does
to
make
do.
it fairly easy.
Yeah.
Because you can get onto their website and you can upload an appraisal, upload why you saved this property and more information. And I mean, they had it fixed in
And
2
I'm
days.
surprised them jacking their prices way up like that. Glenn Miller's been
Well-
an appraiser for years and years. He works there.
Well,
I don't know
the
that
reason-
I don't know that they did reprice. I think they
Just
went in there and just jacked it up.
Well-
And the
Yeah.
people that don't complain are gonna pay it.
The reason is the previous PBA person didn't do jack, and she was corrupt and did this,
Okay.
so it was never done. So there's probably 15 years that was never done anything to it.
Yeah,
So he's trying to get it all back in one lump sum.
Yeah.
And it's
You
not
can't
gonna
do
work. No, you gotta gradually work back.
yeah. You gotta do the work to determine, okay,
She
this
was,
is just how.
was she convicted or?
Yes.
Yeah.
and that's
Well,
not-
and you have a lot of, I've looked at like a PVA on a certain property, sometimes being nosy and sometimes looking at a property, it's like, hey, they're only paying 50,000, but they've added a pool, they've added a new house on it and it never got reappraised.
Yeah.
So they're paying something on 50,000, which really is a $300,000 house,
Oh,
which
yeah.
doesn't happen a ton, but those
Yeah.
people,
Well, they, on my very first house I ever built, it was 1,400 square foot with a 2-car garage that was 700 square foot. And I went out and took the garage doors off, framed it up, put windows in. It's gonna make a big den out of it, added on a 3-car garage, and they pulled up my driveway the same day.
Oh.
And I was like, sucker, because he knew I was doing that. I go to church with him. And he said, so what are you doing? I said, I just added a garage. He said, what are you gonna do with that? Just leave it, workshop. And he never changed my assessment. He left it at the exact same.
you
as what it
figured
was
that was
before.
somebody you went
Yeah.
to church with.
Yeah. No, he knew what I was doing. Because he came over about every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, but no, I told him what I was doing, but they didn't change my assessment. though.
So, you know.
Yeah. I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, don't ever take PVA square footage
Hmm.
No.
at all. Because I praised the house the other day that had 4 offsets on it, and they had it as a rectangle house. And it
We
was-
try to, like, if we're listing something, ask the person if they bought the house in the past few years, hey, do you have a copy of your appraisal that shows your square footage? Because a lot of times it's totally different. Like the one, this lady at 4 Village Drive East, She has hers listed at over 1,700 square feet,
Mhm.
PVA showing at 1,643.
Yeah.
So we don't know, was she trying to, her sunroom that she enclosed in, she's trying to count that as square footage.
Is it heated and cooled?
It is.
With the
it's
Mr.
temporary.
Pool, like one of those plug-in things.
It can be,
It's a plug-in.
it can be counted as livable.
What better
square
plug-in?
footage. Yep.
Really?
As long as it's got, even if it's got
Well,
window in
that-
it.
Well,
If
it
it's
has
got
to
a
be
window.
permanent.
I mean, but what do you mean plugging? Just like rolled in and
A
plugged in? the
space
wall?
heater.
Oh, okay, so it's not one of those that are like built into the wall?
No.
It's all wheels, you plug it in.
Oh, no,
I was about to take a
no.
note. I was like.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood you on
Yeah,
that.
they roll one out, plug the other one in.
Yeah, no, like if they put a mini split or something like that. in,
Like a
yeah,
motel
they'll
unit.
have that
Well, what about a
automatically.
window and gas?
A window unit that
Yeah.
has
As long as
heat or
it's got
cool,
heat.
can
Yeah.
you count that?
Yes,
Heat or cold. right?
because since they are a window unit, you know,
Okay.
they can be taken in and out, but most people, if it's window,
Leave it
if
in.
it's heat and air both, then they're gonna leave it in.
What about the new thing, I could think it's the new thing about the bedroom? It doesn't have a window, it can't be counted as a bedroom, is that for real now?
Yes, yeah. If
I mean,
it's,
I didn't know that.
Door,
Yeah.
closet, and window.
don't
I
have
mean,
to
I
have a
thought it was
closet.
always a
Doesn't have to have a
closet.
closet, just a window.
Yeah.
I thought it was always a
Yes.
closet.
No.
Nope.
Because a lot of people are building houses now, and I had a guy who redid a house downtown on Jefferson, and he gutted the whole inside of the house and just put a closet in any bedroom. And he redone the house, and he went and bought these real fancy chip rope like things to sit in the corner, and that was the closet.
So
So you have-
what size window, what's the minimum size window to count as egress?
Just if it's big enough that an adult person can climb through it. And it can't be like up at the ceiling.
Right.
If it's just like a little window at the ceiling, even though a person can fit to it, if they can't get to it, then that don't count. But if it's like your normal, what's a normal size, like 24 by
That's 24.
36, something like that.
If you're scared enough, you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean.
But it would probably be on the, say if you have a walkout basement, it would have to be on this wall here.
Yeah, on the back wall.
Yeah.
So if you've got, if you've got a
That's when
basement
I
like
counted.
this, these two sides are covered, this side's covered, this is it. You got a bedroom right here, and all you got is a door going into it, and all. You can use it as a bedroom, but it can't be classified as a bedroom.
So, like our living space, back to our house, the one that's a basement, it's a walkout basement, that big living room area, we could call that the bedroom, right?
'Cause there's a full bath in there too.
Because it's got a full, so we could
It's a
say that's,
master suite.
Yeah, it is.
okay,
You can call your whole
okay.
basement,
So we can call it a,
yeah, you can call it, you can call your whole basement a master suite. if you want to.
right?
I'm not moving the bed down there.
Because actually, the one that I sold in there, that's what they did. They had their whole master bedroom set up in that, it wasn't a big
Set
room,
them
like
side by
a,
side.
maybe a 16 by
Put a
24 or
drape
something
sheet
like
over
that.
it, put some pillows on it.
Den with all the doors
like
open
a-
out, but they used it as their master bedroom. Because they didn't like, she didn't like the size of the bedroom that was upstairs. It wasn't big enough to suit.
So, yeah, that could be
So, yeah,
primary suite.
Glad I can. I can take the rest of the week off because I got 3 things I'm learning.
There you
Okay,
go.
so, on you, it's,
And it's got a fireplace.
yeah, ours has 2 gas fireplaces. I'm ready to sell our house. We get out of it. That
Okay.
cheap out of
Good.
ours.
I don't know if Linda's raising her hand or not.
Here, I gotta go. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate
See,
it.
buddy.
See you later.
You got a question, Linda?
I do. When you get
Okay.
a pre-appraisal, can you load the appraisal on the MLS and the associated documents?
If your homeowner gives you permission to.
That's what I thought so, because I've gotten the pre-list appraisals before, but I didn't load them on there because I didn't know what the rule was about that.
Yeah, as long as you have written permission from the homeowner,
Uh-huh.
then you can, because legally, you know, whoever, like if that client calls me to come do a pre-appraisal on a house,
Mhm.
they are my client. And so that appraisal is strictly between me and them, and that's it.
Right.
They have to give, you know, they would have to have my permission to be able to, well, they wouldn't really have to have my permission, but you would have to have their permission to upload that appraisal online.
Okay, good deal. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Good. Feel good.
All right.
What's the 3 things you learned?
Well, one about the closet. Two things, now that I have a range of asking price. And it's okay to go in the city. Because I was thinking I gotta be somewhere like right there by it.
Try to
Closer.
I
expand.
did the
Yeah.
same.
But, I mean, if you're a mile out, you're not much.
Well, hell, anywhere in the season.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank everybody.
Thank you.
Guess we'll end it all here.
Thank you, Barry.
You're welcome. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Barry.
You're welcome.
Bye.
We'll talk about the time range since the pandemic process, because I mean, a
You know,
year or
honestly,
6 months or.
I only, if I know like the neighborhood that I was in, 837, I know there's a lot of turnover over there to see sales.
You do the most
I'll
recent.
do a month.
Okay.